Hi everyone, my name is Muhammad Faisilmi and I am your tour guide for today. So we have arrived at Kuala Amat Beach, and as you can see behind me, there was a statue built to remember the day of Japanese invasion of Malaya for the first time in 1941. I will tell you a bit about the historical event that happened here. So I hope you can learn something from this event, and let's follow me and go to the beach. At about 11:45 p.m., Japanese and British soldiers were exchanged gunfire as Japanese warships had arrived on shore at Kuala Amat Beach. There were several Japanese ships were destroyed, and many British military strongholds on land were destroyed during the incident took place. That was the beginning of the Second World War and Japanese conquest of Malaya. Even though the British military had more sophisticated and modern weapons compared to the Japanese soldiers, it does not stop Japanese soldiers to attack British Army at Kuala Amat Beach. The Japanese Army had successfully landed with landing craft launched by an aircraft carrier. However, they were retaliated by the British Army with machine guns so violently. Lieutenant Nakamura led his first wave to pave the way for a second and third wave. The Japanese Army landed at the coast, attacked the British military defense, and witnessed a very fierce close combat between both armies. Who is afraid to die? Please raise your hand. Thank you. If you see, I raise my hand as well because it is too obvious that I am afraid to die. But not the fearless Japanese soldiers who continued to attack the British Army, and it took them only 20 minutes to arrive at the first stronghold of the British military. Eventually, the remaining British troops were forced to retreat. Around 12:30 a.m. on 8 December 1941, the Japanese soldiers was led by Major Kasui quickly landed to help the other Japanese soldiers to launch a second wave. Around that time, an additional force of Indian troops, namely 317 Dogra regiments, also arrived to provide assistance to the British Army. The British Army was strengthened with Dogra regiments and resulting Japan suffering a very large numbers of Japanese soldiers killed compared to the British Army and Dogra Regiment. Meanwhile, the third wave was led by Major General Hiroshi Takumi, and Colonel Yoshionasu was a bit late because of the retaliation against the British Army in the air. If you look at the sky right now, you can imagine how the Japanese and the British fighter jets were against each other, dropping bombs on land and shooting at each other with machine guns. Airstrikes from British destroyed 2 Japanese carriers fired with torpedoes. However, the Japanese did not remain silent and quickly to launch a counter-attack and successfully destroyed 7 fighter jets of British military. But British claims that was only 1 fighter jet destroyed. Precisely at 3:30 a.m., there were more fearless Japanese soldiers arrived at Kuala Amat Beach to equip with all Japanese army forces. At this beach, there were so many Japanese soldiers who were killed. And if you see at the seawater, the color right now is clear as crystal. But during that day, the color of seawater turns into red because the seawater filled with blood of the dead of Japanese soldiers and smelled with blood. The dark atmosphere at the Kuala Amat Beach were bright as daylight due to bomb attacks and large flash from mortars and artillery. Banzai scream echoed throughout Kuala Amat Beach. Banzai, 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 marking a victory of Japanese soldiers to conquer the Kuala Amat Beach. The Japanese soldiers take charge of Malaya during the Second World War, and during the occupation of the Japanese soldiers, there were so many suffered, causing uncertainty, chaos, and control the local people of Malaya. Thank you.